Welcome to the Lighter Side of the Dark Side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio. Also, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Deezer, everywhere you listen to podcasts. And I know you're shuttered at home listening to all sorts of podcasts. This is the Dark Mark Show. I am Dark Mark, and I got some good news this week. Hannah's grandfather apparently is better. And Hannah's on the phone.
Yay!
Internet star grandpa. Hannah?
He is. Yeah, he's better. He's full of piss and vinegar.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he was better.
Not when you're quarantined. You're stuck home.
Yeah, for a month, he's like, I don't want to leave the bed. Now he's back again. He's probably sporting wood, all sorts of stuff, and he wants to walk around. He wants to go to McDonald's and hang out with his buddies, and he can't do it.
No, he can't. He would just sit here and big fights with me.
Well, I know one thing he probably did today was watch Meathook Massacre 2, which is part of the Meathook Massacre series that apparently is very popular. And we have your favorite guest, Hannah, Dustin Ferguson, on the line. Yes.
Yay!
Aww. Of all the guests we've
awesome.
ever had, you are the favorite. I didn't have you on the birthday show, but you're here now.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we also have the director of... Now, which Meathook Massacre is Jeremy directing, or did he direct?
Okay, well, we have Jerimiah Douglas, who did part 6 here, and then we also have Jeremy Pear, who's doing the upcoming part 7.
Oh, okay. So Jeremiah did the final chapter.
No, he did Bloodlines.
Okay, but he did Meathook Massacre, the final chapter, and then now there's a new chapter.
No. I did Meathook Massacre 5, the final chapter, but then we decided to continue it.
Oh, okay.
So Jeremiah did part 6.
Okay.
And we're doing a part 7 soon.
All right, we'll talk about that. I can't wait to get into all this Meathook madness. But before we get going, and since Hannah has been a bad girl and hasn't showed up for her show in a month, and she didn't show up tonight, but hopefully, I'm kidding. You, Grandpa's health takes priority, but you, and we're doing this by phone, by the way, because everybody's quarantined, and apparently, the Dustin and the gang came into LA, and it was a madhouse. So it was just we had it's getting there, but I was going to have Hannah do the sponsors.
Yay! All right. Well, our first sponsor would be Audible. You can go to audibletrial.com and then you can put /DMS for the Dark Mark Show. You get 2 free Audible originals, a free 30-day trial. And then you can kind of swap them out if you'd like. So that's our first sponsor.
Yes, audibletrial.com /DMS. If you don't like the book, you can get another one, and you get a 30-day trial, and you can cancel it anytime.
Mm-hmm. Everything from like smut supports, romance there on Audible.
Yeah.
All right, and we also have Do Me's Home Cooking, which I've been looking at on Instagram since I'm stuck home quarantined. And actually, Do Me's Home Cooking right now, they are doing pickup and delivery. So you can go through like Postmates and get a delivery. It's the best vegan food you'll ever have. It's 1253 Vine Street in Hollywood, California. There's also one in Toronto, Canada. And the good news is there's no more valet parking, so it's free parking.
Yeah, I would expect not, but you would have to be in Hollywood or in Toronto or the surrounding area to get the Postmates. They're not gonna. We have a worldwide audience. They're not gonna Postmates to Nebraska or Seattle, but maybe they're working on it. But I don't know what's going on in Canada. They so I don't know if Toronto might be as messed up as we are. So we'll see what happens. But next time you're in Hollywood after the crisis, Dustin, we're gonna go to Do Me's Home Cooking, and you're gonna love it.
Yes.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Big Macs, vegan pulled boy, cake, all that good stuff. And then one of our latest sponsors would be Hustler Hollywood. So you get the best lingerie, apparel, novelty gifts. You can get 20% off online in the tire store. And that's MS too, right?
Speaking of good stuff. No, we're going to have when you look at the show on our, we're not going to do a YouTube because it's just me in the studio. Nobody wants to look at that. But if you when you see this on our Audio Boom page or on Stitcher, Spotify, if you go to our Twitter, our Facebook, our Instagram, we're going to have a code for you to get 20% off Hustler Hollywood. You're stuck at home, you might as well get something from Hustler Hollywood and get that going.
Woo!
That's funny. I mean, that kind of goes with our other sponsor, the Spy Associates, is the #1 spy shop for all of your surveillance needs. So if you need a spy partner,
Well, there's a lot of people. Trust me, Spy Associates is going to be booming now because people are going to be watching their water and toilet paper supplies. And so get a camera in your smoke detector, get cameras all over the room, get a GPS tracker, get a bug detector, and make sure nobody steals your toilet paper or water or whatever you got in the house. Your 99-cent store, Tussin, whatever. Yeah. SpyAssociates.com. Yeah.
Promo code M9LMAYS833 for 20% off orders of $249 and up.
That's right. So we'll have that on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages, as well as on the show description wherever you're listening to podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google. They might be the only two left, but wherever you're listening to us, that's where you'll see it. So, Hannah, I'm glad you're back. And by the way, you promise, and hopefully you'll be able to do this. And it looks like Grandpa will be better, so I'm sure you want to get out of the house and out of your community. Next week we'll be actually FaceTiming or Skyping, I'm not sure which, with one of your favorite actors, Daniel Roebuck. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe you never heard of him, but Daniel Roebuck, Dustin knows who he is. He's been in all the Rob Zombie movies. He was in Phantasm 5. He played Jay Leno in The Night Shift. He played Samson in River's Edge. He has over 200.
Yeah. Was that the guy we were just talking about that was in Scary Movie? No. Okay, that's someone else.
He might have been. He might have been. I mean, he's got over 200. He's got even more IMDb credits than you, Dustin. So he might have been. I don't know. He was in Matlock for a long time.
Is that like a slam?
No, it's. He's been at it for 30 years. You've been at it for what, 5?
Yeah, well, 13 or 14. I lost count.
You are the hardest working man in show business. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And the last time I saw you was at the premiere of Harley Wallen's movie, Agramon's Gates. And he works a lot, and he puts out 3 or 4 movies every year, but he's got nothing on you.
Well, I know he's a little fresher to the game, but he's definitely pumping some out, and they're good. That was a great movie. I had a lot of fun at that premiere.
No, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie too, but it's just weird. Every time I talk to you, it's so amazing how you can pump these out real quick. Now, today you were scouting locations.
Yeah, for the zombie movie that hopefully we still can shoot in a couple weeks here. Yeah. But we were down in L.A. scouting locations.
Oh, tell me where you shoot this when you do that, because Hannah and I will be there and laugh at everybody who really thinks it's a zombie outbreak because of coronavirus.
That's true.
I know,
yeah.
Right. I talk about timing. It's so crazy. Yeah, we got actually it's down in the Van Nuys area, and we're going to have Clint Howard in it and Lynn Laurie.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Well, Van Nuys, they have actual zombies, so you'll have no problem getting extras. But just go to the Liquid Zoo, trust me. But you ever been to the Liquid Zoo?
What's Liquid Zoo?
The Liquid Zoo is a bar in Van Nuys, south of Victory, where they do comedy and karaoke, and it's quite a treat. It's like a degree of difficulty. If you're doing comedy there, if you have a joke that gets a laugh there, you have gold. And it's there's fights, all sorts, all the time. It's how people tell you, I like going as like if you're on Tinder or Grindr or whatever, people are like, oh, I love going to dive bars, and then you go to a dive bar, I'm like, this is just a nice bar. How's this a dive bar? That's a dive bar.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, there might be actual zombies.
Sounds intriguing.
It really isn't. Trust me.
I know.
I would never. I would stop you at the door. I would never let you in. But Now, have you already written your pandemic movie yet, Dustin?
Oh my God. I can't tell you the amount of people that are like, oh my God, you should do a coronavirus movie. It's like, oh my God. Well, the thing is, it's so funny because this zombie movie is about a virus outbreak, which is a similar virus. And it's interesting because I wrote this way before that was even like a thing. And now we're filming it in the midst of it. So it's kind of crazy.
And I guess, go ahead, Hannah.
Did what's going on in the world kind of maybe shift your idea a little bit for this film?
Yeah. I felt like, because it's a 3D movie we're shooting, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Really?
But it was a little more on the campy side. Yeah. We're doing it with 2 cameras so we can do the real 3D. We've been messing around with that. And so we have some sequences in the movie planned for it. But, that originally with that idea, it was going to be a lot more campy, but I feel like with things going on, it's kind of taking a serious turn. So I think that it's definitely going to bleed into the atmosphere of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No pun intended, but Clint Howard in 3D, I got to see this.
Right? And he actually gets attacked by a zombie too. So he's going to become, I think this is the first movie where he becomes a zombie.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like we were looking at his IMDb, he's never been a zombie. He turned into he got infected by the ticks in the movie Ticks, but he's never been like a zombie.
Wow.
So are these going to be like the fast zombies or the slow zombies, or you can't tell us?
They're kind of both, because the thing is, there's going to be like different ones. There's people that are like freshly infected that just have like pale skin and veins and stuff, and they'll be more like the fast-paced normal kind of people. Yeah, and then there's going to be like the people that are more advanced with the rotting that are now decaying and walking a lot slower.
Okay, gotcha. So kind of like real life.
Yeah, you got the goths and you got the regular people, and yeah, it'll be good.
Now, can you still hear us okay, Jeremy? I want to check.
Hi, Jeremy.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Okay. Yeah, I've never done a show like this with the telephone, so I apologize. It's see, Hannah, this is why it's different when you're on the telephone, because you can't see me and you can't see other people, you can't look them in the eye. But Dustin's such a great guest. He comes through over the phone, so he's got that kind of personality.
Aww, what a nice thing to say.
Yes, I didn't have a chance to really peruse your IMDb. So how many movies up to now have you directed?
The zombie movie Hell of the Screaming Undead is number 80.
Okay, and that's in. I mean, you said 15 years, but really, the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, like I did the first thing I ever did was 13 years ago, but my first feature was only a little over 10 years ago. So yeah, 80 films in 10 years, so about 8 movies a year average.
Wow. And did I?
Yeah, it's crazy. And it started out some way slower, though. I mean, it was like 1 or 2 movies the first couple of years, and then now it's like crazy. Now it's like 10 movies.
Yeah, and has Jaws in LA come out yet?
It hasn't come out yet, no. But Wild Eye, the distributor, definitely has it in their possession. They're prepping it for a release, and they're also getting ready to put out Robo-Woman. So,
right, formerly known as LA Shark Attack. Now it's Jaws in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And there's no Steven Spielberg always going after you for that?
No, but we did have to I had to provide a blank title screen for Wild Eye so that they can do a different font, because I totally hijacked the Jaws font.
Ah, okay. Peter Benchley's going to come after you, all of them. Now, did I read, speaking of... go ahead.
No, we really did that intentionally, though, because we had like a sort of grindhouse showing for the premiere. We had like a bunch of trailers and stuff at the beginning. So, I mean, I knew it would get changed, and that's also why I sent him a version that didn't have a title on the screen, so he can just do it his way.
Now, I was going to ask, now, speaking of things that I'm not sure, speaking of intriguing titles, did I read on Facebook... I don't know what's going on here. We're getting some alien transmissions here. Is there any way you can take that off speaker? Because we're getting feedback.
Can you hear me?
Is that me?
Whoa.
That's not...
no, wait.
You're fine, Hannah. Okay, it's better now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That sounds fine.
Yeah, it sounds good. I don't know what happened, but speaking of intriguing titles, did I read that you're going to be filming Amityville in the Hood?
Yes.
Amityville in the Hood. Oh, I can't wait for that.
Well, I love.
I know. See, that's the thing. It's funny because originally I had only done the 2 Amityville movies, and they're getting ready to come out now from Wild Eye. They have new titles: Amityville Toy Box and Amityville Clown House. And so with those coming out, I kind of decided I was like, I should do a third film and do like a final end to it. So I announced this movie called Amityville Playthings on Facebook, and it got like a pretty good reaction. But then I talked to Wild Eye, directly about it, Rob at Wild Eye, and I was like, hey, I mentioned I'm doing this third Amityville movie, if you want to go ahead and move forward with it. And he right away, he's like, dude, you got to do Amityville in the Hood. And I was just like, what? Like at first I was like, I don't know. But then like the more I thought about it, the more awesome it was.
Now, isn't Amityville a suburb?
Amityville is a suburb of New York.
It's a white suburban community. But
it could be like, it could kind of be like Evil Bong or Leprechaun in the Hood, where it's like they steal weed or a bong from the Amityville house.
That's one of the most memorable Leprechaun in the Hood.
Well, I love Leprechaun in the Hood, totally. And you could put a Leprechaun in the Hood. You can't take Amityville and put it in the Hood, I don't think.
You never know. You could have like the evil spirits going up against like some gangbangers. You never know. It could be a fight.
Yeah, well.
Well, and that's just it. I don't even really know what the plot is yet because I still have to have this like phone meeting with him to discuss it. But the thing is, obviously, a title like that is going to sell really well.
Yeah,
and so
totally.
It's I'd be like, people if they saw on the shelf Amityville Playthings, Amityville in the Hood, they'd be like, I want to see Amityville in the Hood. That looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like. James Brolin finally comes up against Sticky Fingers. I mean, it's I'm trying to I'm trying to think of the possibilities. Now, but let me ask you because there's Amityville, and Hannah was just telling me she saw an Amityville horror movie with one of our past guests, Diane Franklin, that was really good. And
very good.
And I know that like
was it Amityville Murders or something?
I think so.
I believe so. Yeah, it came out maybe 2-3 years ago.
It was based on the actual murders, and apparently it's really good. And then I think maybe Blumhouse came out with one. I mean, is it because Amityville's a town, like anybody can call anything Amityville?
Yeah, that's interesting because what a lot of people don't know is the only quote unquote official Amityville films are the first 3. The Amityville Horror 1, 2, and 3. After that, film companies started independently releasing their own Amityville films that the fans began to embrace as official sequels. And so, like, Amityville 1992, Amityville Dollhouse, Amityville Next Generation, those aren't even actually official sequels to the originals, but fans have embraced them as such. So essentially, when any studio puts out an Amityville brand film, fans treat it as another sequel.
Wow.
So it's
so smart from a marketing standpoint. It's very smart. Like a lot of low budget companies do that. Like Wild Eye notoriously has put out a ton. Asylum Films has.
Well, and that brings us to what we're talking about here is Meathook Massacre, the series.
Yes,
the series that you created. Now, this was filmed the original was filmed in Nebraska, where you're from.
Yes,
and this wasn't your first movie, or was it?
No, it was. Although it was one of my first work for hires. It was for this little VHS company called Manor Video. They commissioned me to direct 2 films that they were going to do limited edition VHS releases of, and one of them was Meathook Massacre, and the other one was a shockumentary I did called Faces of Dying, which is like a Faces of Death ripoff. And so
you don't say.
We released those. Yeah. Obviously. Well, they both were. I mean, Meathook Massacre at the time essentially was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ripoff. It was just Texas Chainsaw set in the 80s, shot on video. And so we shot it on SVHS because a friend that shot it for me, Chad Hoffschild, worked for a TV station. So he had their old commercial cameras that they used to shoot like the SVHS quality commercials on. Wow. So he shot the film. Yeah, so he shot the film, and it kind of became like this real quick little like minor underground hit. Like it leaked on all the torrent sites. I saw bootlegs all over eBay, and it was like people were like asking me a lot about it, and if I do a part 2. And at the time, it was a work for hire, so I couldn't. Like I didn't have the rights to it. I was like, well, I just made this first film. Manor Video has it, but then Manor Video gave me back the rights after their distribution was done, and so I was like, well, shit, now I can license this out to whoever. And so once that happened, I decided to make a part 2 that I would release myself on Amazon. And then after that, it just sort of grew. I started hiring other directors, and now it's a whole franchise.
That's not so. So this was a work for hire. They said, "Dustin, make us a Texas Chainsaw type of movie," and it was a short movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, all of them are around an hour. A few of them are I think a couple of them are 70 minutes. I think part 4 is maybe 80 or 90 minutes, but most of them do kind of lurk around an hour. It's a smaller, shorter series, but I feel like for the fan base, it's perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, who are these fans? Who are the ones that
rabid weirdos?
Who are the ones that are on eBay? Please tell me. Who are the people on eBay getting Meathook Massacre and paying top dollar for this? Tell me.
It's actually a lot of people in other countries, which is what's weird. I think that there's a mystique to it to people in other cultures because it seems very Americana. It's like this weird, cheap American slasher film, and it's very the first one's very quintessential with what the 80s slashers were. And so a lot of fans in Russia and Japan reach out to me a lot for it. That's why I decided to do part 2. And so I feel like it's people that are attracted to what we're trying to do with the series. It's so interesting to them because to hear it seems just it's another run-of-the-mill, low-budget series. But I feel like people from other cultures, it's a lot more interesting.
And
and
go ahead, Hannah.
It just seems like other countries such as Japan and over in Europe, they embrace what we do so much more, with music and movies. It's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, very much in the way that we do with other cultures. I think it's mysterious and interesting to them, and they understand it differently than we do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the inverse Parasite.
It's kind of the what?
The inverse of Parasite. Everybody was "Wow, look at this! Look at this crazy movie with the subtitles." And I didn't know that the people lived in under rain gutters and this type of thing, and then
right.
And people in Japan and Russia are like, "Geez, I didn't know that." People got people. Now, why a Meathook? Now, was that your idea? Or was that their idea?
Well, because they're scary.
Yeah, well, he was like a the story ended up being that he's like an inbred between half man, half pig, and so they're from a farm, and so it's farm equipment, hunting and chopping up meat and stuff. And I didn't want to. We couldn't use a chainsaw, obviously. We had to use something that could be handheld and still be threatening. That wasn't just a knife. And so I don't know,
cleaver.
The idea of them. Right. Well, the idea of them hanging, it actually, part 1 was because they hang on meat hooks. So that's actually why I came up with the name Meathook Massacre, because he kills them. His main weapon wasn't even supposed to be a hook. It was just he kills them, then he hangs them on hooks.
Right.
But ultimately, parts 1 and 2 were the only ones so far that have characters hung on meat hooks. And so since then, it's become it's his handheld weapon. It's kind of just morphed into that.
And
that's terrifying.
Oh, you don't want to be hung on a meat hook, Hannah?
Hell no. No.
I don't know. I don't
want anything that's half man, half pig chasing me either.
I don't know. I've seen some of your ex-boyfriends, so I don't know.
Whoa.
She has the worst taste in men. I can imagine. First off, you insisted. I'm going to go off on a tangent. Hannah, you insisted that I dress as Leatherface for Halloween.
I did, yes.
And then when you saw this guy in Meathook Massacre, he's a lot thinner and a lot better shape than Leatherface. He could almost be described as kind of sexy.
No, I wasn't paying attention to that. Yeah, no.
What's the guy's name? What's the guy's name in Meathook Massacre? What's the character name?
The character's name's Bubba.
You didn't find Bubba sexy?
Bubba. No, I didn't find Bubba sexy.
Anyway.
Dude, that's like me asking you if you find some slasher chick sexy.
Well, wait a second. We've had this. We had this discussion. What was it? The guy who played Ted Bundy, the High School Musical guy.
Uh huh.
He was sexy.
Isn't that Zac Efron?
Yeah, Zac Efron.
Is hot though. He's a hot guy.
So Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy, that's hot.
He's pretty hot. I mean, I think we all can agree about that.
Yeah. If you have eyes, he's hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zac Efron is a serial killer. That's okay, but Bubba, the Meathook Massacre guy.
But it's Zac Efron. He can play
Exactly what I was going to say.
Boy next door or serial killer.
Well, the Meathook Massacre guy could have been Zac Efron under a
Efron's not
mask.
wearing a flesh mask and a bloody apron either. I mean, it makes a little bit of a difference.
Well,
Zac Efron has a six-pack and an incredible ass.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and those eyes.
Yes.
Well, I just had to adjust my pants because of my boner.
Jeremy
but,
went silent.
So pardon my boner, but anyway,
That's true. That's true.
yeah, I was going to ask because the great thing about Meathook Massacre 2, which is the only one that I could find on Amazon Prime, is that they do a recap of the first movie, and they do show the two girls on the hooks. How did you do that?
Yeah. I think I learned it from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, like the behind the scenes. What we did is we had like a harness that we put on under their clothes that had a little clip on the back. And so it was a little tough. You had to kind of line the girls up right. But essentially you place them in front of the hook and pull down, and then the hook hooks on the little clip on their back.
Oh.
And then they're just kind of hanging like that. And it works out. I mean, it can't hold a lot of weight. So really you have to do it with skinny, younger girls. We tried putting dudes on it. It was they were hanging to the ground, or it was going to make the ceiling collapse,
Right,
so it was
right.
you have to do it just right. But yeah, we definitely pulled it off with the girls. It definitely looks like they're hanging.
Yeah. So you won't be hanging me in Meathook Massacre 7.
We might have to fake it.
But,
Might have to make Mark a villain.
Anyway, that's I would love to play a villain. I think I'm too nice to play a villain though.
I think you can pull it off.
I don't know. The closest I came, I did a YouTube video with Lily Singh, who's now a late night host, and she was a YouTuber, and I played the mean bouncer who's the villain's henchman, and I was trying to be intimidating. I think she beat me up, but that's another story. Anyway, I digress. So, but it's bloody. But it's very. If you like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we all do, this is right along the same vein. Now, this, I think, has a different fan base than even Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Do you have meatheads? There's a whole Meathook Massacre community that loves these particular movies?
There kind of is, actually. Yeah. I have a group of people that are very obsessed with the films that seem to always follow all of them since the first one, always are chiming in and saying they're excited for it and commenting on the trailers and stuff. So there's definitely and they're young. A lot of them are horror fans that are teenagers to early 20s,
right?
Which is about right. It's like the Friday the 13th crowd. I think that the people that watch these are fans of micro budget films already, and so they're looking for more well made ones because. Let's be honest. Compared to other series Camp Blood, or I guess Camp Blood, they are just they aren't trying to be artistic. They're throwing you the boobs and the blood, and that's what they give you with every film. Whereas I think what makes Meathook Massacre stand out is that we have artistic shots, we have a strong story and characterization, and it's every sequel is building upon the last. Whereas the Camp Blood films are just all over the place.
Okay, so tell me how these build, because we're going to get to Jerimiah and Jeremy and their movies and how they got involved in this. But so 2 builds on 1, because one was just Bubba, right?
Yeah, 1 was just Bubba in the house. Yes.
So then 2, you meet the crazy family.
Yeah, the way that. Part 1 was very much like Texas Chainsaw 1. Part 2 was very much like Texas Chainsaw 2,
right.
Which is why we had it in the cave, and we have the whole expanded family. And so part 3 was actually a prequel, which was based on the comic book we had made after part 2 came out.
Oh, I didn't know you had a comic book made.
I have to see that comic book. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, Creamy Rat Productions. I think he's out of China. He had contacted me because he did some G.I. Joe comics he had shown me that were pretty cool. And he has a really unique style. And he's like, another fan from overseas. He's like, I'm a big fan of the series. I have him downloaded, which I thought was funny. I'm like, yeah, figures. But like, he wanted to know. He wanted to know, if he could be involved in some way, and he told me that he's a comic book artist. So I was like, it'd be really fun, because at that point, I didn't plan on making any more. It was just going to be 1 and 2. And I was like, maybe we could do a comic book prequel or something, like give the backstory. So we came into an agreement. He made that comic, and then I decided it would be a lot of fun to adapt that comic into a film. And so I reached out to Jim DeVault, and he was in Texas. And he had done a few movies. I think Scarred is one of them. I'm trying to remember the names of them. But they were pretty good quality. And so I reached out to him, and he decided to take it on, and he made part 3. And what was interesting is Robert Langford, who plays Bubba in 1 and 2, he played Bubba's dad in part 3, because they had to get a kid to play the killer when he was younger.
Oh.
So then Robert flew down to Texas to play the father in that movie, which was really cool. So he could still be involved. Yeah. And then part 4.
So the first 2 were filmed in Nebraska. The third one was filmed in Texas.
Yep. And then part 4 was filmed by a director we will not name, but we all know who he is. Uh-oh. And he is. Yep. And he is. Because I was told by my wonderful manager that it's best to not include him in things anymore, because of the way things are going. So this nameless director in Vegas made part 4, which is the lowest graded in the series. I'll just throw that out there. And then I took over and made part 5.
So this is going to be the final chapter.
Yeah, so I made... Yes, part 5, which was always the intention. I want to do 5 films. It's like building to 5. I was like, all right, 5 is going to be the final chapter. It'll be the one where I return to the series, tie up the knots. So we did. But then everybody after that came out was like, oh, my God, well, now you have to do a part 6, because we introduced Uncle Swine, which is played by Alan Maxon. He's King Ghidorah's right head in Godzilla King of Monsters. He played like the uncle that's – he's like the inbred uncle or whatever, and everybody really liked his character. Wanted to see him come back. So after that, I ended up hiring Jerimiah Douglas to make part 6, Bloodline. And so he flew out here from Chicago to make that. And that was last November?
November, yeah.
And after he made that film, he actually just moved here. He moved here like a week ago to now pursue his film career.
Just in time.
I really couldn't for. Right. We were talking about that, like just in time for the coronavirus.
Everything's getting shut down.
Yeah. And so like now that's come out. We just released it on the streaming channels like 2 months ago or something. So now, as part of our Scary 6 lineup for my production company, Meathook, which is the name of Meathook Massacre 7, is being directed by Jeremy Pear, who's the other guy we have on the line.
Yes. Now, and we'll get to Jeremy in just a second, but how did you find out about Jeremiah? How did you guys connect?
He was a fan of mine, actually, and he had reached out to me on Facebook about how he was writing stuff and trying to get into the industry and had been following me. And after we chatted and became friends, we talked about him writing a movie which he wrote called Sicko the Scarecrow, which is going to be a new franchise that we're doing.
Now, that sounds cool. Now, Jeremiah, what was the first Dustin Ferguson film that you saw?
I think it was the first Meathook Massacre.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure. I remember I worked at like this overnight bodega, and I was bored, and I downloaded it and watched it at work.
See?
Everybody downloaded
it. I guess that's...
I made my money on it. I can't complain.
I guess. I don't know how they made their money on it. Everybody seems to be downloading it all over the world. I must have missed this one. I've been downloading soft porn myself, but that's just me. Yeah, but and you've always because I didn't see any other credits. So this is the first film that you directed, Jeremiah.
Yeah, this is the first one. Meathook Massacre is the first one.
And you realize that to keep up with Dustin, you have to do 10 movies a year.
Oh yeah, I'm trying.
He's trying.
I'm trying.
He just helped me do The Last Roommate. We shot that over 2 days last weekend, actually.
The Last Roommate.
Yes, it's a lesbian erotic thriller, my very first.
Oh, wow.
There you go, Mark. Right up your alley.
Well, interesting. You doing? Well, he's done everything. He did Horn Dog Beach Party. You've done everything. You do. I mean, you mainly do horror, but you do 6-7 movies a year. You do Robo Chick or not Robo Chick. I said that last time. That's Robo Woman.
Robo Woman. You're such a sexist pig.
No, there was a movie called Robo Chick in the 80s.
No, I know there was.
No, Robo Woman.
Like Robo Rod.
No, Robo Woman, and I love Donna Lee Heising, so you did that, and not only that, you do the video games off of it and everything. So what was it like directing Meathook Massacre yourself?
Me?
Yeah, Jerimiah, you got to meet Bubba and everybody.
It was an awesome experience. It was exactly what the whole reason I got into making independent movies in the first place is so I could have control to do something creative, and I love the entire process of making a low budget movie. The problem solving. I mean, I think we shot Meathook Massacre 6 in almost one day.
Yeah, it was like one really long day, and then we had like some pickups, basically.
That's the Dustin filming style.
And I loved it. I was hooked immediately.
Yeah, like he went home and he's like, told his husband he's moving here. He's like, I'm moving to California.
Yeah, my poor husband of 14 years is still back in Chicago.
Oh my goodness. And now you're quarantined.
Yeah, I know.
I was quarantined.
He left you there with Dustin. Oh my goodness. Very trusting man.
I know. Yeah, he came up for the first week and while we filmed Last Roommate. Then, he had to go back. And this has been the first, 5-6 days that he's been here on his own.
Wow. All in L.A. all by yourself.
Yeah.
But
and it's rained the whole time.
I know. It sucks. So you're from Chicago?
Yeah, stupid weather.
Yeah, it's like Chicago around here. It's ridiculous.
I know it feels like back home. I'm not homesick right now.
I can imagine. But now, were you starstruck to meet Bubba for the first time, or is it a different Bubba, or what's going on with the Bubbas?
Not really, because Robert's so personable and nice in person. It was like natural meeting him. He was really, really friendly. He's nothing like that character at all.
Yeah, he's known for being like, I always involve him because the actors love him. It's so funny because he'll like snap out a character, real quick. Like he'll be all aggressive and he'll be like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Should I do it differently? Are you okay?" He's like super sensitive and really nice. He's like a giant teddy bear.
The entire atmosphere on a movie like that's so like friendly and cohesive. It's like one big family.
And Jeremy was there too. He was a second unit director on it, weren't you, Jeremy?
Go check it out. If you guys have something, check out Bloodline. Go check it out. It's streaming right now. Like that's
I caught about 3 words of that, but no. But how did you meet Jeremy, and how did he get into your Meathook Massacre inner circle?
It was very similar. I remember Jeremy reached out to me. Jeremy, what movie was it you came and helped for a day on? Remember?
Yeah, it was the first time that we worked on set together was Axe Grinder 2. Axe Grinder 2 was the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And, I helped out with that. And I got to see how Dustin worked. And we started building a relationship from there. Had a great experience on that. And then we started working on other things together. He brought me in to help out on Part 6, Jerimiah. And then he offered me the opportunity to write the new century in a cult episode. And it just kind of blossomed from there. I don't know what the relationship is. I don't know how I met him. I don't know how it happened, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we could tell Dustin's a very giving guy, and he definitely gives people breaks and believes in people's talents. I've been trying to get him to cast Hannah in a movie for ever since you guys met. I think Hannah, what you need to do.
Hannah was supposed to be. I think she was going to be in Part 6, Meathook 6. She was the girl I told you I wanted to have. Remember? I think I mentioned it to you, Hannah, but I can't remember. Like it didn't work out for some reason.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I was telling Jerimiah about it. I was
he did.
Yeah, there was a scene. Yeah, there was a scene in it with the girl who gets dropped off in her car and she's walking home through the woods.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this girl Hannah I met. She's amazing. She's beautiful. We have to put her in the movie. And then I remember you were coming to get your tattoo, and like something happened where you couldn't come or something got changed. I think that was why.
Yeah, my artist sent me home super, super early.
Yeah, so I think that that was why they ended up not working out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that day got
Next time, we'll kill you eventually, I promise.
Well, what I was going to say is, Hannah, I think if you can come up with some sort of concept, I think you could be a director. I think Dustin can help you out with that. It seems to be the path.
Oh, you're just volunteering me away now?
That would be fun. I'd be down for that. You know.
I bet she could come up with some badass shit.
Mm-hmm.
The toy Hollywood bad date murders.
No, actually, I have a really, really good script I've been working on my whole life, and it kind of comes from what I have to deal with every day with my illness, and it makes Buffalo Bill look a little like prissy.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I think I text you about it. I was going to sit down and talk to you about it, Dustin.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Will there be tucking involved?
No tucking.
Oh, okay. Because I guess I'm out then.
A lot of slicing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So, is this like a bad plastic surgeon or something, or?
No, it's basically about this girl, and she's born kind of deformed, and she's pissed. So she sees pretty girls with perfect skin out there, and she wants to wear their skin. You know.
Ah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
See, now we're talking.
Reminds me a little bit of May.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a little bit like May, but a little more gory.
Yes.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
And it's you did Jaws in Los Angeles, you could do May in Los Angeles.
Oh, that would be good.
What about we could do
really good.
We could do Robo May and
Robo. Now we're treading on some ground here.
Yes, the May Massacre. May.
Oh, make an American Mary too.
Ooh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, Hannah's more well steeped in horror movies than I am. Now, are you a fan of this? I mean, I know you like the bigger budgeted ones, but are you a fan of these really? The Dustin works on a very independent scale. It's it is. You're not going to get what you get with the studio films, but do you think it's better because he can make it a little gorier and he can make it a little more creative than some of these things?
I am a fan of them because I have Shudder, I have Amazon Prime where you can get all those, and I grew up working in a video store, so yeah, definitely a big fan of the little cult movies, definitely.
Because I saw.
Good girl.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's probably gonna be the last movie I see in a while, but I saw The Invisible Man last week, and it was pretty scary.
Jeremiah saw that.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, actually, the audience, it was weird because it was about 15, 20 people in the theater. They were very spread out. And, the audience, it's a horror fan audience, so they weren't too puzzled about it. But when somebody sneezed in the theater, everybody screamed and they all started running for the aisles. And then they realized it'd be okay. And then watch the rest of the movie. But I honestly, I'm kidding, but I actually thought it was one of the better horror movies I've seen in a while because I didn't think that you could make The Invisible Man scary, and the way they did it was really good.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I haven't got to see it yet, but I know they just announce they're releasing it to VOD on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense because nobody can go to the theater. But once you download it, fuck it, everybody downloads your movies.
Oh, I know. Well, of course we're probably going to.
So we were at Meathook Massacre 4. That's like the
yes.
That's like the
the black sheep that we will not speak of ever again. No,
right.
I'm just kidding.
That's like the Friday the 13th, The New Beginning, where Jason wasn't in it, and nobody really cares about that one.
I like that one.
All right, well maybe not. And then part 5 you were back, and that was going to be the end. And there was a big groundswell worldwide. They said, we want more meat hooks.
Pretty much. And so, then we got Jeremiah, who did 6.
Now, was there a cliffhanger at the end of 5, even though it was the ending? Yes. You always got to put it, right?
Yeah, well, and that's why I think everybody wanted more, because they're like, oh, well, you left it open. It's like it definitely is set up for another one. And I was like, okay. I mean, because I wasn't going to originally. I was like, no, it's done. I was very firm, and I'm like, nope. And I was going to do Sick with the Scarecrow, which Jeremiah wrote. I was all gearing up to make that. Robert was going to come play Sicko the Scarecrow. We were ready to move on. But then part 6 just started like happening. Like Jeremiah got involved and he was going to direct it. And then he was involving family members from the previous entries. And then all of a sudden it was like, God, we got to get Robert back. And it just turned into a whole thing. And it's like, well, now part 6 just happened. And so then with that happening, now we're doing 7, which is sort of like a standalone film. I'll let Jeremy tell you a little bit more about here. And then also we're going to do part 8, which is the final one. That's Bubba versus the Blood Beast from Moon of the Blood Beast.
Wow.
Okay, well, tell Jeremy, tell us about 7 and what's going to be happening there.
Well, so it's, like Dustin mentioned, it's a little bit more of a standalone entry into the franchise. That we don't have a whole lot of recurring characters, but we do have Bubba coming back. Can't keep it good.
Yes, Bubba, more Bubba. I'm a big Bubba fan. I'm sorry.
On the hook, we're people with the hook, and we just like to bring a lot of scares to the franchise, and of course deliver on the guts, the gore, the boots, and all that other good stuff that a lot of fans of the series have come to expect. We actually have a GoFundMe up online right now, which we have. If you want to go check it out, any fans or listeners out there like to go check it out, you head over to GoFundMe.com, and you can just search for the word Meathook, all one word, Meathook, and you'll be able to find it on there. And we're trying to raise money for production. We're going to shoot in May. We're currently in the middle of casting right now, and everything seems to be going great. Dustin's very supportive. He's executive producing the film, and it's been great working with him. Like Jeremiah mentioned, he gives you complete creative control. Very supportive for everything. So I'm really happy and really honored to be a part of this franchise and be able to direct the next entry into this. And I'm really hoping to bring a really great, scary story for everybody to enjoy.
Well, I can hear and understand you now, which is great. Now, you guys, I know that you're saying that Dustin's right there, but and he is giving you creative control. But I guess Jeremy, you don't know yet. But Jeremiah, was there ever an instance on Meathook Massacre where maybe you made a mistake, maybe your creative vision disagreed with Dustin, and you guys had a little discussion on set to smooth things out, or?
No, not at all. He stayed away most of the time when I was directing it. He just kind of let me go do my own thing and figure things out for myself, which I really, really, really appreciated.
Yeah, I really wanted to give him a lot of the control because for him at that time it was like a test because we had talked about him coming out here and doing more films and stuff, and I was like, okay, well, Meathook 6 is sort of, that's kind of what it is with a lot of these directors. It's like their trial run. Like I gave that to the Meathook 4 director, and I'm doing the same thing with Jeremy, where it's just like, let's see how you guys do, and then we can move forward together on other films. And so when we did Meathook 6, I really did. It was the first time on one of my own productions I very much was in the background. I was running the errands. I was making sure we were staying on schedule, but I pretty much left him alone in whatever room they were filming in.
All right, I'm not trying to start any trouble. I was just curious. It was always it's like you gotta. Yeah. Now, have the hooks gotten better as the series gone on, or are they grimier and bloodier? Like, are they shinier now? Are they? Sharper?
Oh yeah, we keep them fresh and polished, of course.
I don't know. I only saw 2, so it looked a little grimy. Now, what concert were they going to in the first Meathook Massacre that? When all
oh my God. It's this funny running joke in all my movies. It's Dragon's Claw. Dragon's Claw is a real band. They're out of Germany, and they're like an 80s metal band.
Oh.
Hannah, do you know Dragon's Claw?
So I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. They do perfect 80s music, as you probably heard in Meathook. And so they did music in part 1. And so now I refer to them in all my movies. Whenever a character's going somewhere, they're going to a Dragon's Claw concert. Whenever we hear music on the radio, it's Dragon's Claw.
Huh?
No, they had when they were listening to the radio and there was like an 80s metal song. I guess that's Dragon Claw, right? In Meathook Massacre.
Yeah, that was them.
That's pretty good.
I remember the music. Yeah, it was good.
All right, and is Dragon's Claw? Are they thankful for the plug? Are they big Meathook fans?
Yeah,
or?
well, it was a trade. They gave me some music, and I did some music videos for them. I think I did like 4 or 5 videos for them, so it's definitely a mutual thing. But
okay.
they're big fans of it, so they were all happy.
Yeah, because I noticed. I think was it 2 that Velvet Antichrist and Leatherstrip did some of the music too?
Yeah. Leatherstrip did the theme song, which was a lot of fun.
That's not too shabby, because I know you've done, as we've said before, you've done videos for a lot of industrial bands like that.
Yeah, Velvet Antichrist and Leatherstrip, Rocco Polo.
Yeah, you want to get up speaker again? I'm sorry about that.
What happened?
There, that's better.
There?
That's better. Yeah. No,
there we go.
There's just, I guess, some places in the room the speaker's kind of acting up. No, but I mean, you've done, because like you said, you've done videos for a lot of industrial bands because you were involved with Metropolis Records and Thrillkill Calls, KMFDM. Yeah. Leatherstrip.
Yeah, it's always been like a trade for them, like getting them involved in the films just in exchange for directing a music video, which is beneficial for me as well because now I have a big repertoire of videos and I've done about 80 music videos as well for these bands.
Right, and you have your own rap career, of course. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see you live for a while, but now, have you ever thought of doing like an industrial album or an 80s metal album? I think Hannah would love to hear both of those.
Mm-hmm.
I did back in college. I did an industrial experimental album called The House Massacre Jams, and it was very much inspired by Skinny Puppy and had lots of horror movie samples.
Nice.
You with the massacre?
You'll have to send that over.
Now, Hannah wants to hear that.
Yeah, I haven't even heard it in like probably 15 years.
I want to hear it.
See, everybody wants to hear this now.
Yeah.
Oh God,
you have it
somewhere. I'll dig it out. I'll post it online. Maybe I'll share one of the songs.
Yay.
If you send it to me, I'll post it as a Dark Mark Show extra. Now, people are in their house; they got to dance. But now, Moon of the Blood Beast. Tell me about this because this is the new. Or have you already filmed that or not?
Yeah. Moon of the Blood Beast. Okay, I was hired by Troma to do Grindsploitation 8, which is their like anthology series they have going. And so for the wraparound, I decided to do it was basically these kids at a drive-in watching the movie, and they're watching on one of the trailers, one of the fake movie trailers is a movie called Moon of the Blood Beast, and then at the end of the wraparound, the Blood Beast is really there in the back seat and like attacks them. And so that's how it was introduced. And then after that came out and people saw the fake trailer, like, you got to make it a movie. So eventually I decided to make a movie called Moon of the Blood Beast, the real movie, and we made that, and it premiered in like Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi on TV. And I decided that would be a fun one to make more too, because it's sort of like the middle piece. So we're doing a prequel and a sequel, and Matt Leal is directing the prequel, which is just called Blood Beast, and he's actually going to go in, I think in April or May, they're going to start shooting that. And then, like I said, we have Bubba versus Blood Beast, which is serving as the sequel to that, as well as the sequel to Meathook. It'll be part 8.
Now, what I didn't see Grindsploitation. 2 questions. One, so Troma gave you the rights to that?
I was hired to put it together. It's an anthology series. Basically, what they do is it's just a bunch of fake trailers and short films. And they needed someone for part 8 to assemble it. I guess whoever was supposed to work on it prior, it didn't work out. And so they're like, well, here's all the shorts and clips. Can you just edit it together? And I was like, well, what if I do a new wraparound? Because none of the movies, all 1 through 7, none of them had a wraparound. They were literally just like, trailers, clips, and bumpers. And I was like, let's do like a cool little thing where kids, because it's called Grindsploitation 8 Drive-In Grindhouse. So I was like, let's make the story these kids at a drive-in watching these things, that we can have some sort of creature that attacks them. And so that's sort of how that came to life. I ended up editing that and shooting the wraparound, and then that birthed the Blood Beast.
Ooh. And the Blood Beast, what does the Blood Beast look like?
Okay, he's kind of a cross between like Pumpkinhead, meets like it's like a demon. He's a demon that comes back during the cycle of the harvest moon every 10 years to protect this isolated community from outside influence. But in order to do so, they have to make sacrifices. So he comes to collect his sacrifices every 10 years.
Oh, okay. So you already got 3 movies planned out for that. You got one that's already shot and a prequel and a sequel. How does the Blood Beast meet Bubba? I'm trying to figure this out. Now, this is
okay. So
and this is all Nebraska, right?
No, this is all going to be here. Yeah, no, the Moon of Blood Beast was shot here, and all the recent Meathooks were here, so this will be here too.
No, but
basically, what it's going to be is. No, go ahead.
No, the movie is set in Nebraska, though. The Meathook Massacre.
No, it's set wherever we've shot them. Like, we actually have it worked into the story that Bubba started in Texas, which is the prequel, and that they've moved through the Midwest because they're in hiding, and so they were in the Midwest in Nebraska. Then they passed through Vegas on their way to California.
Oh, you're a genius. You are a genius.
So we worked it all in with the backstory. So so this one is in California, which is where the Blood Beast is. We don't say it, but Moon of the Blood Beast takes place in Oceanside. It's like a small coastal town. And so basically that's going to be where Meathook 8 takes place. It's like after I don't want to spoil anything from Jeremy's movie, but essentially after the events of Part 7, the remaining characters run into the Blood Beast in the woods while they're trying to hide. And so there's a battle that ensues.
So this is your Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, and it's like, initially it was sort of just like a goofy idea, but now everyone's like rolling into it. Everyone's like, oh my God, Bubba versus Blood Beast, oh my God. And it's just like, it's like the thing that seems so perfect that we just have to do. Because I've been wanting to do a crossover movie, but I have a lot of random villains, like, the Robo Woman and like Sicko coming up, and I had the Black Tree Forest Killer from before, and I'm like, I don't really know what the right one is. But it just like, it felt natural to cross Blood Beast with Meathook, because I actually shot Moon of the Blood Beast and Meathook 5 back to back. So we used a lot of the same locations and actors between the two films. So to me, they feel very connected already.
Are you going to have a big battle scene between them?
Oh, of course. And it's going to be half the movie. Okay. We ain't going to be this Freddy versus Jason shit. Like, they're going to fight. They are going to fight, and it's going to be gory.
Awesome.
And then the next one, you can get Robo Woman in there and
Bubba together.
Do a melee.
Yeah, it could be like a romantic comedy, like a rom-com with Bubba and Robo Woman. And
they're the only two left on Earth.
Yeah, that could be.
They have to reproduce new spawns.
But you can't do that because Donna was one of the relatives. She was isn't she Granny or?
Oh yeah, it doesn't work.
But they're into inbreeding anyway, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of incest involved. Yeah.
So with the world really in a weird way, and I'm glad we just had this hour to get away from it. But do you think? Horror is really back. But do you think people are going to be isolated in their homes? I mean, this is going to be a really good time for horror, as it is every time something bad comes in the world. When they had the Great Depression, that's when they had Dracula and Frankenstein and all that stuff. When in the 80s and 70s and 80s, when they had a recession, horror was big, and then the big comeback was the last recession.
Well, yeah, after when Bush was president, I remember that's when the horror came back in the early 2000s.
So
that's very true.
I think this bodes well for all three of you.
Well, and it's interesting because at SAT, I know a lot of things are being shut down. Especially in the film scene, a lot of productions are on hold right now, and things like that are shutting down. But in a weird way, it hasn't affected us too bad because luckily we keep our productions small. We keep them close knit. We keep them around this area, so we're still able to do work, which is nice. On a more limited scale, we're able to do our editing, release the trailers, and all that. So. In the very least, we're able to find ways to stay busy and keep doing work, that maybe we were going to do later, we're just doing now. So, we're finding ways to survive it.
So you may only do 7 movies this year, not 8, but it'll be okay.
I know, darn it.
Yes. Well, I got to tell you, as always, Dustin, it's been a treat.
It has been a treat, even though we can't really see each other.
I know, what a bummer. But at least we made it. We made it work with this weird phone contraption we have going on.
Yes,
we did.
Yes, thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. And so you're probably you and Jeremiah are probably sitting there naked right now, and who knows? I mean, who's to say? Probably Jeremy too. And
Mark, maybe you're naked in the studio right now.
No, Alex is right here. I'm in the studio. I'm in Comedy Pop-Up Studio by myself. And I wish you were here because although we love Paul, my friend Alex is here, a comedian that I've known for years. I didn't know he worked here, and he took over tonight, and he's been doing a great job. And under odd circumstances. And
I know, and we were there. We drove all the way to LA. I mean, we both have our Meathook Massacre shirts on, and we gave ourselves facials for real.
No,
and then you couldn't you can't use my bathroom. You just have to drive to Redondo. That's all.
Well, no, it was just because because we got there and it was like, what time was it? It was like 3 or something.
Yeah, you called me like 4.
Man, I was like, we're not going to the studio till like almost 8 o'clock, and it's like insanity. And we were like sitting in some parking lot in just like the rain. We're like, we're like, this sucks. We're like, I wonder if we can call this in.
Next time, just text me or something. You guys can come over.
Oh my God, yeah, I don't even know why I didn't think that. We're doing that next time.
We were soaking wet.
Yeah, we were like wet rats.
Well,
we could have.
Yeah, you and Grandpa could have dried them off.
Right? You could have saw my stitches. Woo! Pretty scary.
Oh.
That's why Hannah's not in the studio tonight, because apparently she had. She looks beautiful.
Stitches in my face.
Ooh.
But Hannah,
What happened?
Oh, I had a procedure done to make me look better.
Oh.
But you look fine. You're beautiful. Everybody says that.
You are so freaking beautiful, Hannah. Oh my God.
You.
And speaking of that, and I was hoping that Dustin and the gang would see my new silver fox hair, but next time. But
Next time.
But Hannah, I was going to say, are you still in the running for the Ink Model of the Year?
I am. I made it to the top 5 cutoff of my group, and Thursday they announced the top 3. So.
Oh my God! Congratulations!
Thank you.
Yay!
So
I didn't think I was going to make it this far.
Well, I did. And what does that tell you? Of all the thousands of women that try to be the Ink cover girl, you're in the top 5.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is so cool. I know you're gonna win. You're gonna freaking win.
And you don't. And you still don't think you're pretty.
No.
We got Dustin. We got a lot of work to do. But everybody, we're gonna because I know that once I get going on these conversations, I'll never get off, and I know that we all have to hunker down. So
you gotta go home and quarantine yourself, Mark.
Well. If that's a euphemism for masturbation, yes. Dustin,
you can't afford to use that tissues or toilet paper on that. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I got a whole. I got a whole different technique. Don't worry about it.
You got a sock?
No, I don't. I don't use socks.
Well, he doesn't discuss it publicly.
That's all I discuss publicly. But Dustin, no, Alex is like, yeah, I remember, because he remembered me doing comedy in Las Vegas, where he was wearing sandals all the time. But that's a whole different story. So he doesn't use socks.
Oh wow.
But Dustin, tell everybody all the movies you got coming out, what's out, and how people get a hold of you.
Okay, so. Obviously, Meathook Massacre 6 is now out on the streaming channels, so make sure everybody checks it out. It's the SCS Entertainment streaming channel. You can just Google SoCal Cinema Studios. It'll pop up. We have The Last Roommate dropping on there on May 1st. We have, like Jeremy said, Meathook 7 is going into production shortly and has a GoFundMe, so make sure everybody checks that out. Then we also are doing Hell of the Screaming Undead 3D, which begins shooting here in 2 weeks.
Hell of the Screaming Undead 3D.
Yes. So watch for that. That's going to be amazing. And then we have, the TV movie, The Beast Beneath, which we film in April.
Ooh.
So that'll have a TV premiere, and it'll be on our channel, too.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Now, the 3D movies, where are they going to screen? Or is it going to be 3D on TV?
We're going to screen it. Yeah, we're going to screen it. The screening will just have to be in 2D, because it'll be like at a regular theater and stuff. But it'll be available when I release it on DVD and Blu. It'll have a 2D and 3D option.
Ah.
And it's going to be 2 versions of 3D. It'll be the red-blue 3D, and which is stereoscopic. And then it's also going to have the Real D option, so it'll have both options on there. So if you have a smart TV, like a 3D TV, you can watch it that way.
Well, if there's going to be looting in the near future, I might get a 3D TV. But
I need to get a 3D TV.
Jerimiah, how do people get a hold of you, and tell us all the projects you got going on?
I wrote Dracula's Daughter, which Dustin's getting ready to do here in May. We're going to do that.
Wow.
Probably like the beginning of May. Then I have Sicko the Scarecrow, which I originally wrote for Dustin, which I'm going to be directing like August.
Yeah.
Those are the only two things I have currently coming, but there's some
The
things in
Creatures
the works.
episode.
Oh yeah, we're doing like a kind of like a spinoff of the old TV show Monsters. It's kind of influenced by that.
Right.
Called Creatures. Each episode's going to be about a different like little critter attacking somebody.
Oh.
So we have a different like director for each one of those.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling this won't be an awe kind of thing.
Critter is a cute little word, so I always say aw.
I know that sounded way too cool. Like,
They're gonna be like freaky, weird, gooey thing.
how about
Okay.
beastie? Well, that still sounds cute. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gooey. You had me at gooey.
Yes.
You
And
can get a hold of me mainly on Facebook. I need to get on the other like internet things, but Facebook's like the main way you can get a hold of me. I'm on there all the time.
Right.
Just regular Facebook page.
yeah,
Jerimiah Douglas.
Jeremiah Douglas and Dustin, same thing on your. You're the only Dirty D on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah, on Instagram it's the only Dirty D, and then Facebook. I actually merged my old director page to my regular page, so you can look for just my name, or you can look up STS Entertainment.
Okay, and Jeremy, you still there?
Yeah. Check me out. You can find me on Twitter at Jeremy Ashley, first name spelled K-E-R-M-E-Y. You can check me out on Facebook, Jeremy Pear, last name spelled P-A-I-R. I got some weird spelling names, so sorry about that. But yeah, you can find me on there. Instagram, I'm sure it's a similar sort of title like that. And yeah, check me out. Go check out the GoFundMe page. Consider donating, and definitely support SoCal Cinema Studios and the streaming service. Check out all the awesome movies that they got on there. And we're going to be delivering a lot of great horror for you fans coming out. So keep a lookout for it.
Yes. And I have to mention, we can't forget that Jeremy is also known as Frank Yola. He's a rapper too.
Oh.
Now you tell me.
We had a single together on my last album, Run It Up. The single was called Flex Machine, and we did a music video even that we filmed in Hollywood. So people should look that up too.
Very nice.
Is that on streaming sites?
What's that?
Is that on streaming sites like Spotify and Deezer and things?
And it's on YouTube as well. Like the video is on YouTube, and that's
Okay.
what we're both in. You definitely got to check it out.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I definitely want to. I definitely want to check it out, and I'll probably post that as a little bonus along with this episode. But and Hannah, hail Hannah Box 666 on Instagram. Vote for her as the Ink Model of the Year. If you win, if you win the Ink Model of the Year, will you acknowledge that you're a pretty?
Yeah, that's the only way.
Okay, well you better vote, folks.
Everything's riding on this, huh?
So if you're number 2 or number 3, it's over, right?
No, that would be cool too.
Okay, so you're in the top 5, but it's not there yet. So number 4, you're
Number 2 would be fine.
number 4 of all the Ink models. Forget it. Anyway, I'm Goth Comedian on social media. Everybody, I say this every week, but boy, it really fits this week. Have a wonderfully creepy week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.